If we look at Czechoslovakia in the 80s, so you started your interest in metal. How it started? Yeah. If I can ask you.
It started with me as a normal teenager who was loving the music. And when I turned to, let's say, 11, 12 years, I started through my older friends to listen to hard rock or early heavy metal bands. And I started to like it a lot. But at the time, I was still half to half. I was one side of my personality was listening to disco and pop music, and the other part was hard rock metal guy. And when I was about 15, the heavy metal side started to uh, as taking more of my interests. And when I met my friend Christopher, who was actually the part of my more far family, I got to know he has a band, and I was so excited about it, and the metal band, and I was so excited about it that I immediately wanted to visit them on the rehearsal. And when I saw it for the first time, I wanted to join them. For the first time, I saw the real drums, real electric guitar, and the team of the guys, the young guys, was so cool to me that I wanted to be a part of them. So it started. I was really keen on in this hobby. It was occupying the most of my spare time, and during the years, the other friends just left our band or just started to live different kind of life. They started to be focused on the family life, and so. But me and Christopher, we stayed for another 15 years together, just having Krabathor. It was a band on the first one of the first places in our lives. So that's a brief story about it.
Okay. Of course, we will discuss Krabator also, but firstly, I would ask about how do you perceive this situation in socialist Czechoslovakia in that time, and to be a metalhead? How was it to be metalhead in that time in your town?
I was still a kid, you know. Uh, we realized that there is the regime that it's not too friendly to their people. But actually, we were too young to have more serious troubles. Uh, of course, if you know that the regime is behaving this and this way, you are modifying your behavior not to endanger yourself. So we are behaving like that. We are behaving good and respecting what we can expect from the regime. But the first little problem started when we turned like 17, 18 years old, and we wanted to bring our band to public life. And at the time, it was necessary to have exams as a band. And when we did these exams, we went through it successfully in the end. So we are happy about it that we can play publicly and we can ask for money. After a couple of months, we lost this permission to perform, and I was in the military service already, so I know that story by speech only. But uh, they said to me that it was by the action of secret police, that we were not what they expected from a musical band. So they took our permission away, and luckily, after a couple of another months, Velvet Revolution came and regime broke down, and we even didn't need anything more. But of course, we were most probably in the view of secret police. They knew us personally. They knew what we are doing, and so, and they definitely had the files on us. And when I was on military service, I was in a working troops. I was not a soldier, because my uncle left Czech Republic illegally. He was an immigrant and emigrant, so sorry. And by that, I was not a reliable person for the regime. So I was serving my military service in the working troops.
Okay, thank you very much. And did you have already metal image when you started to be metalhead, or not?
Yeah,
Not yet in that time.
yeah, I was. Actually, I tried to find my picture from the time. It was shortly before I went to military service. Ah, here we go. So this is my picture when I was 18 years old, a couple of weeks before I left for military service, when I lost my hair, and of course I became a soldier. So you know, as I said, we were kids. We were 17, 18 years old. So not courage enough to revolt against the regime, because the regime was strong, and anything that they didn't like could have the serious consequences to you and to your family and so on. So depends. If I would be older, like guys from Thor or Arkane, these bands were like 5, 8 years older guys than us. Uh, I believe they had more serious troubles than we had.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the Krabathor. Maybe I would ask firstly if it was a death metal band from the beginning, or it crystallized progressively.
Not really, because in the middle of 80s, there was nothing described as a death metal, besides speaking of Possessed Seven Churches album, which was maybe the first time anyone used the term death metal as a name of the one tracks of them. Uh, I was, and still I am, big lover of Celtic Frost and now Triticon, and for me, these were the real pioneers of real death metal for me. And our most influences were like heavy metal bands like Iron Maiden, Accept, and so as everybody from that age had. And later on, it was especially Venom and Celtic Frost, following by Slayer, Creator, Destruction, and so on. But Venom and Celtic Frost were the really first bands that turned us to the extreme music. So uh, we started with a kind of a bit more extreme heavy metal. On the first demos, we called ourselves thrash metal. And when we returned from the military service in the beginning of 90s, we were over 20 years old. So then we started firstly to call ourselves as a death metal band.
Okay, and where was your first concert?
In Prague. I show you. I try to share again. I try to share the screen. It was in Prague. Hold on. In 88. And it was the kind of indoor festival organized or organized by Vlasta from Thor. Can you see that?
Yes, it's loading.
Yes, yes, now it works.
Okay, fine.
Ah, it's a video.
Yeah, it's a video. It's the first gig ever we played. I played the drums and do the vocals. And there was 1,600 people inside. And this was the gig was sold out. And this was really great start for our band. After that evening, I believe that everybody in Czech Republic got to know what the Krabathor is, and also there was some people having the pen poles outside in South America, in the rest of Europe, and so on. So So from that evening, the name of Krabathor also got to be a little bit known also behind the borders.
Maybe I would add that that metal session festival was important not only for Krabathor but many other bands. For example, the Bustro played there and other Czech metal
Good.
bands. So yeah, it was very influential and important session in metal history, I would say. And by the way, Bruno, we had some conversation before this conference that some student from Masaryk University contacted you about doing bachelor thesis about that metal session, if I'm right.
Yeah, that's true. He visited me last week, and we had a speech like 3 hours. We were talking about it, and we were checking the documentations and pictures from that. And I am personally also interested in because I don't know everything, and he's doing the interviews with some other musicians playing at that metal session, so he can easily bring the new informations to me that I would never heard about.
Okay, I'm looking forward also to that thesis to read that, and how it evolved with Krabathor in the turn of 80s, 90s.
We were a lucky band, I have to say. The first big luck was that metal session. It was even before military service, and when we returned back, regime broke down, and finally gate to the west and to the world got open, and the first studios got open as well. So we recorded last demo in the small studio of theater in our hometown, and we of course sent many tapes all over the world with the demo, and we had the luck that we got an offer for an album from at the time one of the biggest Czech record labels, Monitor Records. They were major at the time in Czech Republic, so we released the first album. We actually convinced Monitor not to sing on Czech language but in English language. So our debut album, Only Our Dead Is Welcome, is the first metal album on Czech language in Czech Republic, and uh, it got a really good sale. I'm thinking it was in 1 or 2 years the album sold over 16,000 copies, which was really good result. And we released also another album on Monitor, but uh, then times started to change a little bit. Monitor started to be focused more on the pop bands and lost interest in metal because there was more metal bands than before and more metal albums released than before. Sales went down, and for us was really important to have international distribution. And Monitor promised to do that and didn't do it. So we were looking for the label abroad. And for the third album, we signed with the German Morbid Records, which was really very good underground label, and we released next two albums on them. And these albums got also really good sale, nearly to 20,000 all over the world.
Okay, thank you very much. And is there any question from audience? If anybody wants to ask something.
Nobody knows me.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe I would like to ask about the subcultures at the time. Like we were like part of the metal subculture, I assume. So like, were there other subcultures that you were friends with that were maybe coming to our concerts? And also on the other side, were there some scenes that you were like, I don't know, had fights with, or how was the environment at the time?
Not really. Actually, the metal
Mm-hmm.
movement was so strong and it consisted so many people that we were not mixing with the fans of, for example, punk or I don't know, rock music. Maybe we were close to hardcore, but I wouldn't say that we were much confronted with the other styles. We were just a different community, and we had own focus on the own things. And concerning the fights and so on, the only fights, I mean, were because of the ladies or alcohol. I don't think that
I
Metal
see.
Nation is the nation uh, having some fights or just expressing their aggression towards the other people. I don't think so. The metalheads 30 years ago or 40 years ago and now they sometimes look ugly with the long hair and the black clothes. But I don't think they would be dangerous to society anyhow or whatever like that.
Yeah, I'm asking also because we had like yesterday one talk which was about the movies that were like portraying differently the metal subculture. One was from Germany and the other one was Czech one, and the Czech one was actually portraying the metal subculture as you say, as like these peaceful guys who just want to enjoy their stuff at the concerts. And the other movie from Germany was portraying them as this like violent kids. So I wanted
I
to
don't
hear your
know.
own opinion as an insider.
In my opinion, the more aggression I saw, for example, in United States when we played in America, uh, I was shocked by the reaction of crowd when, for example, Cannibal Corpse started to play. They was really violent and aggressive, but not in the meaning of the word violence and aggression against other guys, but they just are free to express their feelings and energy inside. But to me, it was on the edge to be dangerous.
Okay, I see.
Hmm.
Some like mosh pits, violent mosh pits, or
Yeah, circle
yeah.
pit and so.
Uh-huh.
I was actually I was when the Cannibal Corpse were doing their sound check. No, nobody paid attention, and I was always interested in the instruments and gear they have and how they look, how the clothes, and so I was standing close to the stage to see everything as good as possible. And they started to play immediately. They didn't have any intro, any entrance on the stage. They just finished the soundcheck and started to play. And the moment they started to play, the circle pit was there, and I was in the middle. I was inside of that circle pit. So there was a rotation of people, and they started to hit me, and I fell down a few times before I just got outside.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Maybe I would follow with the question, as you mentioned, United States. Were there any other interesting concerts which you remember in other countries around the world?
No, I played over 1,000 concerts, and it's hard to remember in particular. Of course, there were amazing concerts. There were amazing tours, but 99% of the gigs I did in Europe. So I didn't have many chances to play it outside Europe. So I can consider only European shows. Of course, tours with the Cannibal Corpse, festivals like with Full Force, Wacken Open Air, Pepsi Cigette in Hungary with over 300,000 people, or I don't know. So sometimes it happens that we have a luck to be a part of really extraordinary musical event. But it happens only in the time when we have extreme luck.
Okay, let's move to the late 90s. So you founded Hypnos. If you can tell us more about the beginnings of Hypnos.
It started with a personal disagreements with Christopher, the other main guy in Krabathor. Uh, we were 15 years like brothers, so we had the same goals, same passion, same power to do the things. And the last year, or maybe last and a half year, I spent in Krabathor. Our ways were very different way, and in the end, I realized that I cannot continue without having personal fights with Christopher and without being really satisfied because atmosphere in the band wasn't good at the time. We were two parties. I was on the one side with manager Pedro. Christopher was on the other side with the drummer Skull. we really reduced communication each other. We just said hi, and that was it. And I realized that I don't want to spend the time in such atmosphere, and I decided to leave. Even Krabathor was really successful, that metal band at the time, especially in Czech Republic and Slovakia. And the final tour did with them, uh, we had in average like 500 or 600 people per show. It was really one of the highlights of my career, of my entire career. But anyway, I decided to leave, and I started with Hypnos. I asked former Krabathor drummer Pegas, who recorded third album, which was considered also as a successful, and we started. But we had the troubles with the guitarists. For every album, we had to find new guitarists, so we had really a lot of lineup changes on guitar. And if some people remember me or us from Krabathor times, it was good for the first 1 or 2 years. We got also good support from the label, but after that, things went down rapidly. We just fell on the ground again, and we started to work from the beginning. So uh, I consider these times as a starting with a new band. Of course, it's good if someone remembers Krabathor and say, "Hey, you are Bruno," and so on. It's nice to hear it, but it doesn't help you much in the work I'm doing now. So with Hypnos from 1999, when we started, we released 6 full-length albums and a few mini albums. We did over 500 concerts, including several tours. But till now, still in Europe. So the Hypnos didn't leave the European continent so far. I'm still waiting for that opportunity, and I'm still believing that one day it happens.
Okay, and maybe about the Hypnos, which style of death metal is it, if it can be said?
You mean now or before?
Now.
Uh, it's death metal, I guess. It's hard to say because many bands try to find different marks on their band. But to make it easy for the people who do not know us, I would say death metal. I like to have some touches of different kinds of music. For example, black metal. Or now, when I'm looking in the future, I'm really keen on to mix death metal with doom metal, for example. But if speaking generally, let's say we are death metal.
And would it be possible to show us some video from Hypnos? Would like to see that
Yeah,
definitely.
the video from it's from the last December. Last December. It's from live DVD we recorded and released last summer. Can you see it?
Yes.
I put a full screen. And this song is maybe the one with touch of black metal influence. That's it.
Okay. And maybe let's move to another topic. I know that a few years ago you were in Ukraine and you had a concert there. So if you can tell us more about that.
It's I go back in time. I start from the real beginning. We have a drummer from Belarus now, and circa 10 years ago, he was close to the band already as a merchandiser, as a graphic worker, and sometimes as a session drummer when our drummer Pegas couldn't go with us to play. So this guy, Igor, his name, he was with us, and it was in 2018 probably. He told me that he has a friend on Ukraine from the band Fleshgore who would like to do some common tour with Hypnos. And I'm open-minded to such offers, and I got in touch with a guy from the Flesh Gore who is called also Igor. And we managed a tour. And the agreement in the beginning was that they will do half of the tour, and I will do the second part of the tour. Let's say 10 concerts, and I will organize 5, and Igor organized also 5. But in the end, I organized 9 shows, and Igor organized 1. So we played in Czech Republic, Germany, Poland, and I thought to Igor from Flesh Gore, okay, we did a fine tour, but I organized almost whole tour by myself. What about to bring Hypnos to Ukraine? He said, okay, I will do that. So that same year, 2019, in the autumn, Igor from Flesh Gore organized 5 shows on Ukraine in Uzhhorod, Vinica, Kiev, Kharkiv, and Dnipro. And I have to say, I was a bit afraid to go with a van full of expensive equipment, instruments, go Ukraine, because I remember the stories from 90s from the truck drivers and so about the mafias and the stealing and then the troubles on the border and corruption and so on. So I was a little bit afraid, but anyway, I wanted to go. I'm just open-minded for such opportunities, and we went there, and the tour happened excellently. The gigs were fine. We had, in average, let's say, from 100 to 200 people. We met a lot of nice people. We played the places we have never been before. The main problem actually was the distance between the shows, because we drove like over 3,000 kilometers for the very low money. But anyway, the result was great. And from the time I stayed in touch with the Flesh Gore guys. And when the big war started in 2022, Igor from Flesh Gore wrote me that he's thinking to bring Hypnos to Ukraine again, because if in the situation they couldn't leave the country, there was still the same bands playing around, and their people wanted to see something new, something different, and so. But our drummer, as I said, our Igor, is from Belarus. He couldn't enter Ukraine, and I didn't want to find session drummer to go for Ukraine, and I wasn't also 100% sure that my other guys want to go there in the war times and so on. So I offered to Igor in Kiev to come to do some meeting with the fans. I did it a few times here in Czech Republic. I offered him to play some documentaries, to have some talk with the fans, some discussion. I could bring some materials and so on. He said, okay, that would be fine, but it's still not enough because people expect music. And then he offered me, if you cannot come with the guys from your band, what about if we practice the stuff, practice the songs, Krabathor and Hypnos as well? And if you come by yourself, let's make a band together, and let's call the concert like Bruno plays Hypnos and Krabathor. And it was a really good idea to me, and I wanted to go to Ukraine because I'm really feeling shitty about the situation that is happening there for 12 years already. So I was happy to go there. I took a train and I went to Kiev, and we had 2 rehearsals with the guys, and then we played a show in Volume Club in Kiev with attendance, let's say 150 people. We collected some money for the SU, for the army, about 1,500 euros. And this concert is on YouTube. It's complete stream. And if you are interested to see that, I can play for you a short example.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So hold on. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Full screen. Okay. So, okay. I'm sorry, I have a daughter here because my wife is not at home and she's bored. So,
No problem, no problem.
okay.
Okay, so you also visited some places in Ukraine in that time, or what?
Yeah.
How was it?
As I am very much involved into the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and I'm following the news hours and hours daily. I'm really watching the progress and everything around. So I was interested to visit the places that I knew from the news and from the TV, as Bucha, Borodyanka, Irpin, Hostomel, places in Kiev. I wanted to go to the cemetery in Kiev when one of my friends, the guy who supported us in 2019, on the concert with the band. He was a bass player from the other band. He just died on the front line. So I wanted to visit his grave, and this this trip to Ukraine took like 4 or 5 days, but it's really very strong impression on me till now. To see that on I could realize even from distance, even from here, how the situation could be like there and so on. But being be there is for me the symbolic gesture that I'm feeling with them. I can accept on my mind that someone doesn't live as good life as I'm living. So this is really important for me to express my feels and to show them to my friends and to the people on the concerts and to people on the social networks who are following me and who know about me, that I really pay attention, and I'm really waiting till the day when this hell is over. And I promise to everybody, when the day when it ends, I got it drunk. Believe me.
Okay, I definitely understand.
Mm.
So maybe our audience, do we have questions? Peter?
First, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your memories. It's really fun and interest to hear to you. So I would have a question that goes way back. What really would interest me, you were saying like the first death metal influence in your scene was, you were mentioning Seven Churches, which is of course a classic. What would interest me, what were the ways that you got aware of death metal? What were the forms of communication? Was it tape trading? Was it discs? What was it? Because I was researching the Austrian metal scene, and basically it was German magazines, it was Metal Hammer, that brought the news. Oh, we want to do that too. So it would really be interesting how death metal comes on your screen, so to speak. That would interest me.
It was a very similar way, I guess. We had in the village I live, actually, in the house I am now, the 50 meters from here still lives my friend who had a lot of tapes. Till now, I do not know where he was taking these tapes from, but he had everything we were interested. He had Destruction, Sodom, Battery, Venom, Celtic Frost, Creator, Slayer, Possessed, and Metallica, just everything. And every weekend we were standing by his window on the street, and he was giving us the tapes, and we were listening to it, and then returning next day and taking other tapes and so on. And also, as you say, some friends had the metal hammers. These magazines were Bibles for us. When we saw the Venom pictures in there with the snakes and so, and it was really so big impression on us. But anyway, one of the only contacts with the world's metal scene that just it was I don't know how to say that. It was the only things we could see how the metal in the world looks like. But anyway, it was still enough for us. Wanted to be the same as they are. Wanted to be on the same level. We just were from even when we are 15 years old kids. We wanted to be like them. We just were like, if these kids from Germany or Great Britain are so popular and well known, why couldn't be we like that? And of course, it's a childish dream, more or less, but in some kind, it was the engine that was pushing us forward, and that brought us into really extreme passion to hit our goals.
Thank you very much. Any other question? If not, our time is going quickly, but I have a last question. What do you listen currently?
Mayhem. Because Mayhem is about to release a new album, so I'm checking their new songs. Also, I have like waves. I have a period for 1 month, more or less. It's taken years already. The 1 month I'm listening just to one band only, whole discography, all the albums. And this month I have the period of hate from Poland. I'm listening to all of their albums and the Crusade Zero. This is the album I heard maybe 20 times in last week. So this is my current period. And also I'm very interested in the band from Spain called Todo Mal. It's a band I found out last year already. I didn't know about them at all. It's a kind of doom, death, hard rock, stoner all mixed together, but very dark and heavy and groovy. I like it a lot, and we have a luck in April. We play in Berlin, in München, in Germany, on the Easter festival. And Todomal is taking the place right before Hypnos. So I'm really looking forward to see that guys live and to meet them and talk to them. And so this is my musical occupations last weeks.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are in the end of our interview. So I would like to really thank you, Bruno, for this, I think, very, very interesting insights and information which you shared with us. So fingers crossed also with your career with Hypnos. And thank you again. It was a really nice interview. Thank you.
Thank you to all, and thank you to everybody who spent their time to listening to my talks. Thank you.